Iori figures out he is not the first one to the ruins. Exploring this massive place solo hits different. He spots another player and realizes teaming up is the move, since flying solo is totally cooked behavior in a spot this ridiculously huge. They hear a newbie pleading for help because a boss absolutely wrecked their party. Iori steps up to handle the mess, pulling up to the scene to see what went wrong. The vibes are immediately heavy as they scan for the missing players. Stella completely griefs the newbies, pulling a scummy player kill move that makes everyone sick to their stomach. Iori realizes they have no choice but to body the boss themselves after the dust settles. It is a crazy, chaotic start to this intense adventure. Iori and his new friend become official buddies, sending a friend request to lock in their duo status. They head toward the main terminal, soaking in the unreal scenery. The beta world just feels ridiculously alive and totally mind-blowing to wander through right now. Seou and Wiseman pull up to apologize for abandoning the party earlier. They got targeted by Stella, who is farming views by doing awful things for her subscribers. It is toxic streamer behavior at its finest, but the squad vibes recover pretty quickly. Iori gets the grand tour of the town shops, checking out the item seller and the blacksmith. Getting gear organized is a top priority, since stepping out of the safe zone means dealing with actual prowling monsters. The danger is honestly no joke. They set their sights on a massive forest in the safe area that houses unique monsters. Defeating them means rare drops and major clout. Clearing this tough quest would put them among the absolute best players, which is a massive ego boost. Argo rolls up, offering premium intel for an absurd amount of coin, but cuts a deal if they let her join the party. It seems slightly suspicious, but getting free info and keeping the drops is a bargain they literally cannot refuse. The group gets ambushed by a mystery monster that flat out steals Iori's entire inventory. The absolute disrespect of getting robbed blind in the middle of nowhere sends them on a frantic chase to get his stuff back before it disappears forever. They manage to secure the bag and get all the items back after a grueling fight. Argo is genuinely impressed by their teamwork and suggests making the partnership official. Teaming up with a shady but useful information broker is honestly a massive win. They bump into Cal, a famous solo player who cleared the high Elven ruins entirely by himself. He officially joins the raid team since Argo has to dip. Time is tight, but having a ridiculously overpowered player on their side changes everything entirely. The squad ventures deep into Teardrop Cave, keeping their guard up against sneak attacks. Cal shows off his signature victory hand gesture, a wholesome habit he picked up from his older brother. He really hopes his brother can join this game super soon.
Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel.
Cal completely carries the dungeon run, casually turning massive bears into actual mincemeat. Iori is amazed by his skills and realizes that ignoring fear is the only way to enjoy the ride. They all friend each other before the beta officially ends today. The game officially launches, and the squad reunites in the massive Teleport Gate Plaza. The hype is unreal, with 10,000 players flooding the servers. Everyone is totally ready to build an unstoppable guild and dominate the early game content together right away. Panic absolutely erupts when players realize the logout button is entirely missing from the menu. Everyone gets force teleported back to the starting plaza for a mysterious announcement. The energy shifts from massive hype to pure confusion in literally a matter of seconds. Akihiko Kayaba reveals the darkest plot twist ever, declaring that dying in the game means dying in the real world. Removing the headset will literally fry their brains. The only escape is beating all 100 floors of the giant floating castle. Iori reflects on Kayaba's twisted reality check. The pain and fear are entirely real now, turning their dream world into a literal nightmare. Escaping this place requires finding companions they can completely trust, because going solo is basically an absolute death sentence. A month passes, and the squad is still trying to figure out their next move. They realize that staying in town is safe, but desperation might push other players to do horrible things. Getting stronger is the only valid strategy left right now. They decide to quietly travel to Horner Village to farm quests and avoid drawing attention as former beta testers. Splitting up feels slightly paranoid, but they know trust is a rare currency in a death game. Survival mode is now fully activated. The group links up in Horner and accepts the Forest Elixir quest from a stressed non-player character. They need to hunt a rare carnivorous plant to get a powerful sword. Moving fast is vital before other players inevitably steal their entire farming route. They finish the quest with crazy speed, securing the anneal blade. A player named Diabel notices their skills and asks to friend them, planning to form a massive raid team to beat the game. They agree to hear his whole pitch out later. To boost their stats, the team decides to hunt for weapon enhancement materials in a familiar cave. They split up to gather items efficiently, hoping the dungeon layout has not completely changed since the beta. Everything feels intensely different and dangerous now. During the grind, some of the party members randomly receive a mysterious antique brooch that equips automatically. It is totally bizarre since it gives 0 stat boosts, and not everyone gets one. They brush it off as a weird cosmetic drop for now. They hit up the blacksmith to enhance the anneal blade, which gets way stronger than they expected. Feeling hyped about their upgraded gear, they rush toward Tolbana to catch Diabel's strategy meeting before they miss out on the absolute main raid event. At the raid meeting, Kiba stands up and starts completely flaming the beta testers, blaming them for the rookie deaths. He demands they give up their money and items. The tension is incredibly high, but Agil steps in to shut down the yapping. Diabel manages to keep the crowd focused, revealing the boss is Ilfang the Kobold Lord. His leadership is honestly inspiring, giving everyone the courage to fight. The squad recruits a guy named Zash to round out their 4-person party for the boss raid. Just as the raid is about to start, Iori gets a frantic message from Seou saying something horrible happened. They abandon the labyrinth to rush back to town, prioritizing their friend's safety over the boss fight. The group loyalty is truly unmatched here. Seou reveals that other players found out she and Clark were beta testers and viciously chased them down. The anti-beta sentiment is getting dangerously real. Iori tells them to lay low while the squad heads back to finally join the boss raid battle. The boss battle goes completely sideways when the attack patterns change. Diabel gets struck down and the group absolutely loses it. Someone immediately accuses a beta tester of withholding information, blaming them for letting the heroic raid leader die a truly brutal death. Kirito intentionally takes the heat, calling himself a beater to protect the other beta testers from the mob's wrath. He acts like an arrogant cheater, so everyone focuses their hate on him alone. It is a completely selfless but incredibly tragic social move. Suddenly, the players holding the mysterious brooch experience a terrifying shared hallucination. A monstrous entity appears, plunging them into a literal nightmare sequence. The game randomly drops a mandatory quest called Swordsman of Salvation on them, which feels incredibly cursed and super unfair. The new quest hints that the world will be destroyed if they fail to stop the resurrection of a death god. They try to abandon the quest, but the system flat out refuses to let them. They are officially locked into this absolute nightmare. Seou is having a complete mental breakdown because Clark was killed by monsters, meaning he is dead in the real world. She is in heavy denial, aggressively insisting it is just a prank and that he simply logged out to go home safely. The squad checks the Monument of Life and confirms that Clark and thousands of others are permanently gone. The reality of the death game finally crushes whatever hope they had left. The stakes are unimaginably high, and the vibes are totally ruined now. Despite being terrified, the remaining crew decides to tackle the apocalyptic quest themselves. They realize they cannot rely on anyone else to save the world. They head to the second floor, looking for Kirito to see if he has any useful beta intel. Iori listens to Lara singing in the plaza, finding a brief moment of peace. The music reminds her of the real world and studying for exams. She promises to stop running from her fears and genuinely commit to getting stronger for everyone around her. The squad debates taking the labyrinth to the second floor instead of teleporting, deciding they need the raw experience to level up. They refuse to take the easy road, knowing that building unshakable confidence is the only way to survive future boss fights. Arriving in the main town of the second floor, they ask Asuna if she knows where Kirito is. She points them toward the Badlands, warning them that the Black Swordsman can be a bit tricky to talk to. The manhunt officially begins today. After fighting off some incredibly angry elite mobs, they finally locate Kirito wandering around the Badlands. Zash stays behind to keep looking while the rest of the crew approaches the infamous solo player to ask about their impossible death quest and the brooch. They help Asuna gather weapon upgrade materials in the meantime, fighting through elite enemies to make her blade stronger. She mentions wanting to get noticed by someone named Mito, which is exactly why she is pushing herself to tackle these intense boss fights. The squad runs into Argo chilling with Kirito. They ask him about the sacred tree brooch, but he claims he has never seen it. Argo promises to sniff around for clues, leaving the team basically exactly where they started in terms of actual progress. They stumble upon Stina, a player who randomly found the exact same brooch and got slapped with the same nightmare quest. She reveals the item is likely a high Elven relic, pointing them toward some ancient ruins she spotted during the beta test. Stina admits the nightmare has been completely wrecking her sleep, so she teams up with them to solve the mystery. They decide to hit up the second floor ruins together, hoping it provides some actual clarity before the game literally implodes on itself. While prepping, Iori gets sidetracked by a rumor about a restaurant called the Snowy Thrush. The owner is completely out of stock, so they agree to hunt some glowing meat for a free meal. The side quest grind never actually stops in this game. They bring golden apples to the restaurant owner, but she drops a massive bummer, admitting she has to close shop because of crippling debt. The squad realizes this is not just a regular fetch quest and decides to investigate her absolute financial ruin. Turns out the owner's late husband racked up gambling debt with an insanely toxic loan shark. The team decides to pull up on the extortionist's hideout, planning to use sheer force to erase the debt and save the old woman's beloved business completely. The loan shark tries to act tough, claiming power means he can do whatever he wants. Iori completely turns the tables, beating him down and forcing him to hand over the contract. It is a satisfying end to a seriously messed up extortion situation. The owner is absolutely stunned when she learns her massive debt is wiped clean. She immediately cancels her plans to shut down and gets right back to cooking. Iori is just happy to help. Klein drags the squad into his own messy drama involving an apothecary named Cecilia. He lent her money, but her sketchy fiancé Verer starts sending attack dogs after them. The vibes are completely awful, and Klein is heavily stressing over the apparent betrayal. They realize Cecilia is being completely extorted and manipulated by Verer, who wants to force a marriage to steal her massive inheritance. The squad corners the toxic fake fiancé in the woods, fully prepared to hand him over to the town guards immediately. Klein rescues Cecilia, and her actual fiancé Abel finally wakes up healthy. They explain the borrowed money went toward curing his illness. Klein gracefully takes the win and his money back, proving his ridiculous gut instincts were actually right all along the way. Moving back to the main quest, the crew enters the High Elven ruins and meets a guardian who demands to see their brooches. The gatekeeper drops some heavy lore, explaining they must find legendary weapons to stop the god of death from resurrecting. Stina totally carries the team through a massive trap room using pure instinct, saving them from getting completely wiped out. They split up to search the diverging paths, putting their absolute faith in her to find the hidden treasure room safely and quickly. They secure the first legendary weapon, Okvande, and are immediately teleported outside. They meet a weird kid named Pucci, who randomly drops ancient lore about the sword mastering a dark god. It is honestly bizarre, but they accept the quest bonus anyway. Finding the next sanctuary is proving to be a massive headache. They spot another player discarding their brooch out of pure fear. A flashy guy named Muso shows up holding his own brooch, proposing they team up to tackle the impossible quest together. Muso challenges them to a duel to prove his worth, catching everyone slightly off guard with his item usage. Despite acting like a total weirdo trying to pick up girls, his combat skills are undeniably solid, so they let him officially join the crew. Desperate to get stronger before facing the next sanctuary, they hit up the Merchant Guild. A nice non-player character named Hannah gives them a grueling list of gathering tasks. They end up fighting a literal boss just to grab some basic medicinal roots. The fetch quests just keep escalating, requiring them to clear out monster lairs across 10 different locations. Hannah secretly upgrades their weapons for free, basically carrying their entire operation while hiding it from her ridiculously strict guildmaster to keep them all alive. After surviving a gauntlet of giant monsters, they finally finish the contract. Hannah reveals she is actually the guildmaster and was just trying to connect with players directly. She showers them with extra rewards, totally making the horrible grind worth it today. The squad finally enters the next sanctuary, but Muso refuses to help fight the first guardian. After getting roasted by the team, he steps up and casually lands the finishing blow, proving he is an absolute menace when he actually tries to fight. They secure the second legendary weapon, Astrum, and bring it back to Pucci for another lore dump. The kid explains it is a dagger that turns evil gods into shooting stars. Muso has zero patience for the story, acting like a total impatient boomer. Argo tracks them down with an urgent side mission to save Lara, the famous idol, who is currently being hunted by literal stalkers. The crew agrees to sideline their apocalyptic quest to go save the singer before things get completely out of hand. They venture deep into a smelly, dangerous cave and find Lara unharmed. She complains that a mysterious white-haired player in purple stole her kills and vanished without a word. The squad immediately realizes she is talking about their missing overpowered friend, Cal. Lara demands they escort her to the 3rd floor so she can perform a concert. They ask a crowd of fans if anyone has seen Cal. Silica steps up and points them toward a specific forest ruin, earning a holographic recording of Lara singing. Before finding Cal, they get sidetracked by a mayor asking them to hunt a giant monster. They spend hours searching the mountains and forests, but find literally nothing. The entire quest feels like a massive scam, leaving everyone entirely frustrated and super annoyed. Playing detective, they trail the 2 kids who reported the sightings and discover they were hiding a friendly little monster. Suddenly, the actual boss monster shows up out of nowhere, forcing the team into a brutal fight to protect the lying children from death. The mayor agrees to let the kids keep the friendly monster, wrapping up the quest with a wholesome ending. The squad finally reaches the 3rd sanctuary, completely certain that Cal is inside hunting for the exact same legendary weapon they desperately need right now. They catch up to Cal deep in the sanctuary, but his vibes are completely ruined. He acts incredibly arrogant, kills the boss alone, and tells them they are idiots for risking their lives on this stupid mission before vanishing with the legendary weapon forever. Realizing Cal took the only weapon in the sanctuary, Pucci tells them their chances of survival just tanked. Iori suspects Cal's weird behavior is because his brother might have logged in. They rush to the Black Iron Palace to check the player logs immediately. The squad is completely devastated to find Cal's name crossed out on the Monument of Life. He died from a head injury, which does not even sound like a normal game over. The harsh reality of his death pushes everyone to their breaking point. Zash and Stina are fully spiraling, ready to abandon the impossible quest. Musso claims he only joined out of boredom, hiding his own tragic past behind bad jokes. The heavy pressure of the death game is slowly tearing their fragile squad entirely apart today. Lara admits she was basically a failed idol trainee in the real world, using this game as a second chance. Iori realizes they have to keep moving forward. Despite all the fear, they agree to dive into the fourth sanctuary and face the nightmare head-on. But the fourth sanctuary is an absolute meat grinder. The mid-bosses have second health bars, pushing everyone to the brink of giving up. Zash admits he feels like a coward, and Stina is paralyzed by fear, but they firmly refuse to leave each other behind. After finally clearing the dungeon, Lara recognizes Iori's real identity. She is Psyche Rio, the famous idol who went viral and then vanished from the industry. She admits she hid in video games to escape reality, but is finally ready to face her actual fears. Bonded by their shared trauma and survival, the group officially forms a guild called the Order of the Cherry Blossom. They swear an oath to beat the game and meet up under a real cherry blossom tree in the real world when it is over. A massive server-wide event triggers, opening a mysterious locked door in the basement of the Black Iron Palace. The crew realizes it is a gateway to the final boss of the Swordsman of Salvation quest, and everyone who holds a brooch is being officially summoned. Entering the basement, they feel an overwhelming aura of dread. They notice their brooches have transformed into keystones, realizing they need to revisit old dungeons to power them up before taking on the God of Death in an epic final showdown to save the game. The squad successfully defeats the Nightmare boss, celebrating their massive victory as a team. A creepy new group calling themselves Death and Reincarnation appears, planning to use the ancient High Elven legends to attain true death and transcend the game in an absolutely unhinged way.
Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.